Watcher, welcome back to Delboy's Garage. Right, now if you're looking at the screen and the image is brighter or better or in some way improved, then that's because today we are using a new camera. Now after filming the last video, the camera that we used took a dump and it's the third one in a row. Now what we've always done is with things like white goods, cameras, that sort of thing, we always do take out extended warranties. And I know that in the past they've always had a bad rep, but this particular piece of insurance was just about the best thing we ever bought. Started 3 years ago. We bought a Cisco flip share camera. It broke after about 8 months, stopped recording. So we went back to the shop and they gave us another one. Just on the basis we paid £15 for a 3-year extended guarantee. And it wasn't just a warranty against faults, it was his insurance policy. If you drop the camera off the bench and it smashed on the floor, take it back, leave you a new one. It's literally a damage insurance as well. So the second camera also got damaged, about 9 months, it stopped working, and then we got the last camera that we've been using for probably about the last 120 videos or so. And just at the end of last video, when we're using it, it just stopped. We actually had to cut the footage around to get it to fit, purely because it's just, I don't know, I don't think these things last very well. But as you go along, each camera you go back to get a replacement, we always upgrade. We always spend a few extra pounds. We spent, I think it was £35 on it this time.
Yep.
We got a better camera. We've got a JVC camera this time. It's a lot better. It's got a Minolta lens. It's got a little bit more field, depth of field, so we should have a wider angle. You should be able to see more of the garage now. And also the greatest feature of this camera we've got now, can't really show you it. It's very difficult to show you the camera that we're filming with, but it's got a super low light feature. Now we've got black bikes in a white garage, that extreme contrast, very often we find you're not getting the detail. So this is really by way of just a test video to make sure this camera is working. At the time of recording this, this is the very first footage we've ever taken, so this could be a whole new era for Delboy's Garage. It could be brilliant now, it could be much better to watch. I'm hoping it is, because we do value the improvement of the quality as we go along. We want to keep that moving. And now we've gone from about a 70 quid camera we started with to a £200 camera, just by upgrading, spending a few more pounds each time they offer us an exchange. It's a good way to do it, and that was all because we paid £15 for extended warranty. So you might think about that, you never know. Anyway, what we're going to do today, very quickly, when we come to the Triumph, I've had this exhaust project going on now for probably a couple of months. We've done the exhaust. The heat shields do need to come off. They are going to be painted. I'm going to bore some holes in them, and we're going to do some trick stuff with perhaps brass or copper mesh, whatever, but that's all to come. I haven't really got into that yet. That will be before the whole thing's finished and on the road. The exhaust is a 4-part project, if you like. It's the pipes first, which are done mechanically, and obviously we haven't quite finished because we've got heat shields. The second thing is the air filter. We did that in the last video. We replaced the K&N filter. The third thing is to remove the AIS system. Come back to that in a minute. And the fourth and final thing will be to take the bike to 3 Cross Motorcycles, where we got it from, and it will be remapped to have their off-road map, or probably just their open map. They have 3 options. You can have the arrow map for a 2-into-1 little short thing. You can have the TOR map, Triumph Off-Road map, which is for their aftermarket open pipes, or their Triumph open pipes, but they do a standard open twin pipe map. I think it's just a general one, and it's all downloaded. You just take it up and give them their due. 3 Cross have been brilliant, haven't they, Pen? They just said, fit what exhaust you like, mate, bring the bike back and we'll map it for free. I really like that. That's very impressive. So we're going up over the course of the Christmas holiday to have it mapped, but before I've got the bike ready to present to them, I've got to get the AIS system. Now AIS, that's the air injection system. It's a little thing that lives here. It's these little tubes. Come on in, okay? Let's have a look, see if that camera actually shows low light. Now these little tubes in here, I've already started removing this. These little tubes go into the head and they inject air along with the fuel mixture. And a little bit like what they're for really is it's an emission control thing. A bit like your old 70s cars for California spec. Emission control regulations meant they made a lot less power. I think it's just there to please the vegetarians really. It's nothing to do with real world. And I always think the AIS system's a little bit like your appendix. You know, you can live without it, you won't miss it, it doesn't really do anything. In fact, nobody really knows what it's for. It certainly doesn't give you any performance, that's a fact. And taking it out is not about getting extra performance. Taking it out is 2 things really. It's going to stop the exhaust popping on overrun, because that's extra air going in, it's running a little bit leaner, you're going to get a little bit of popping in the exhaust. I don't want that, I want to eliminate that completely. And secondly, it looks junk. You've got this big steel tube sitting next to the plug, it looks odd, and about 4 people have asked me what it does, and I'm kind of bored with telling them. So we're going to rip it all out. There's a couple of little solenoids up under the tank, just going to take one of them out, blank the other one off, and it'll all be gone. Simple as that. So all I've got to do, before I can do anything, is remove one of these. Now, There is a kit for £37, which is a blanking off kit for this, but it consists of 2 bolts to go in the holes when you take these out, and I think some heat shrink, wasn't it?
Yeah.
£7, yeah, a piece of heat shrink to go over the end of the plug.
£7.95 postage,
That's
plus
right.
VAT.
And the £7.95 postage was from a guy in Bournemouth, which is just up the road, who refused to let us go and pick it up because he deals with it only over the internet. I think from his kitchen. I won't mention the company, but the principle is I ain't going there. I'm not paying £35 plus for 2 bolts. There's an amazing company that I'm going to show you tomorrow. I'm going to take the GoPro, we're going to go back out for a ride. I haven't had the camera out and the helmet for a little while, so we're going to go out and take it to Allfix. Allfix is a trade fasteners place. They just supply nuts, bolts, fasteners, washers, screws, all sorts. And all that is, when I take that out, is a bolt to just go in. The one they normally supply is like a sump plug. It's flush top with an Allen hole, and it's a little short 12mm, and that's all these are. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to whip one of these out, because I believe I want the right one. A couple of people on the net said it's an M12 by 1.25. Somebody else said it's not an M12, it's an M12 by 1.5, whatever. So there's a little bit of conjecture over exactly what that blanking hole is. So all I'm going to do, take that tube out and take it with me tomorrow to Allfix and show it to the guy, and he can give me the exact thing that will go in the hole and blank it off, and also a copper crush washer which will seal nicely. So all I've got to do is whip one of these out, so I'm ready to go and present it to him tomorrow. Show you how it's done. Okay, now this is really a test video. As I said, I want to see whether in this low light you can see what's going on. So here we've got the little AS tube. You take that little clip down. It's just like it's a permanent crush clip. Once you've removed it, you have to nip it back in with a special pair of pliers. I've just popped it down out of the way and whip the top off. And all that is, it just sits up on the top. There we are. Just comes off like that with a little gasket. Now this normally, if I show you here, sits on that hose there. There's a rubber hose. I'll show you all of this when I refit the whole system and plug it off. This all goes up into a solenoid underneath there. You take that hose off. It should take the tank out of the way, to be honest, for safety. And then you blank that off. You take that metal tube out. You need to first of all take that piece off. Then you need a 13mm stepped ring spanner to get down into it. That's a 12 over the top and down on top of the nut. Now obviously we're going to crack that out the way, so before I do anything, just because this is a nice black engine case, I put a nice piece of cloth in the way there to prevent it catching it, and just release it like that. Carefully does it, and then that just unscrews out the head. Now what I'm going to do for now is pop a cloth in there just to stop the spiders crawling in and stealing my piston. Just going to screw that out. Right, there we are. Now that is your air injection system tube. So all I'm going to do tomorrow is take that to the dealer and say, look, that bit there, I need that. Just come in close on that, pen. See, it's a hole. It's a straight through hole. It's a pipe, effectively. And I want him to measure the thread, so he will give me exactly the right part. I'll get a brand new copper crush washer. That's easy for you to say. And then blank off in that hole by using a little neat blank plug will go in there instead of this pipe. Okay, so that's all there is really tonight. This has just been a simple test video. I'm just whipping that out to take it with me tomorrow. As I said, it's going to be a video. I'm going to stick the old GoPro on, take you up to Allfix and show you what we come up with. The last time I went up there on a mission to get some bolts, I needed 4 bolts to hold the grab rails on the Bandit because I nicked them for the Hayabusa, and Suzuki wanted £6 for 4 bolts, effectively £1.50 each, and they weren't even stainless. They were just a zinc covered bolt. I went up to Allfix, I got 4 stainless steel M8 Allen bolts for 90p. So that's the kind of company they are, and I'm hoping that I can get that little doodah there, just obviously not as a pipe. It'll just be, what I'm trying to get is a nice little flush Allen thing that just looks like that when it's in, and that will look quite neat. So that's to take with me tomorrow, and hopefully the video is a little bit better in quality than they have been in the past. because the aim is to keep improving what we're doing. As far as the bike's concerned, just to end this quick, once the AIS system is blanked off, which my mate Johnny Cactus Zero has advised me to do, because he said he's further down the road with his Bonneville than I am. He's had his a few years, he's done all these things, he's junked all the system, and it just works and it runs beautifully. Honestly, these bikes, it's a little bit like your Harley Davidson with its cat converted pipes and its big air baffle in the airbox. You don't need any of it to make the bike run. The bike runs much better if you just take it all off. But when you take this stuff off, you have to do it correctly so you don't end up with an engine management light on the dash, which is then a pain in the backside. And obviously the bike's under warranty, so I've got to be a little careful what I do. I don't want to take the bike up there ailing and wounded and then ask them to fix it for free, because they're probably going to get stuffed, and quite rightly so. So I'm going to take off the AIS. You can run it. Ian's told me, Johnny Cactus Zero told me quite clearly exactly how to remove it, what bit you leave on, what bit you take off, because it's all basically up under the tank. The only bit you see is that bit, and that's why that's coming off and being blanked off. There we go, that's enough waffle. Take it easy, ride safe. See you tomorrow. Stick the old GoPro on, take you up to see your fix. Okay, see you next time.